On today's show, the Gameracer, Fuel, and Superbike 09.
Welcome to Inside Sim Racing. I'm Jessica Lopez. This is episode 43. This is Darren Ganji.
Hey everybody.
We have a very big show lined up for you guys today. We actually have two big giveaways, our biggest giveaways
Big
to
old
date.
giveaways.
Woo! That's right. And one of them is this wheel.
Big money giveaways.
Big money giveaways.
These things are worth some cash.
This Thrustmaster force feedback F430 wheel, and this thing is a beauty. From Thrustmaster, the Ferrari F430 force feedback racing wheel and pedals for the PC. Built from high-quality materials, the Ferrari F430 racing wheel incorporates the new 5-position Mannintino dial as well as wheel-mounted aluminum sequential paddle shifters. You can check that out at thrustmaster.com. In addition, we're also going to be giving away a that's right, not one, not two, but 3-month subscription to iRacing. We're going to be giving out trivia questions, or we'll be having trivia questions throughout the show, so make sure you watch the whole show and look out for those questions.
You guys have to watch every minute of this show
to
try to win these things, so stay tuned.
Stay tuned. And Sim Raceway, you got some news about Sim Raceway.
Yes, Sim Raceway. As a matter of fact, I'm driving a R-Factor mod right now. If you guys are members of R-Factor Central, you've seen an email from these guys, simraceway.com. I don't know what the heck's going on. We've tried to contact them, haven't heard much out of their camp yet, but it looks pretty cool from what they, from what they're talking about.
And they like your feedback, so you can always go to simraceway.com and go ahead and give them your feedback.
Yeah, they got a countdown page going on there. So I think these are the Race.me guys. It looks like they're backed by Ignite Skill Gaming, so we're definitely going to have more about them coming up here on the show.
And we'll keep you posted as soon as we hear anything.
We will.
And today, Darren's got his lovely segment, 4th segment actually, of sim rigs for under $1,000.
I do. As a matter of fact, I'm in the Gameracer right now. Elite version, and we're going to have this on the show for the under $1,000, and then I got my my rig on the show.
His very own rig.
Yep, people have been asking about it, and put together a little segment. Why don't we just roll that right now?
Let's take a look.
Cool.
Especially since the review of the GT3 RS, viewers of the show have been asking what my rig is made out of. Since we've been doing the segment on sim rigs, it was time to show mine. It's put together with what's called 80/20 aluminum extrusion tubing. You can configure this stuff any way you like it. It all goes together with M5 bolts and nuts with a variety of brackets. It's solid as a rock and provides the rigidity needed for a sim racing rig. Matter of fact, all these pieces are standard sizes that were used with a Frex Motion Sim. There's only a few pieces that were cut to create the rig. For the seat, it's a Jegs basic $150 job. The wheel deck is just made of plywood, has been painted black, and is drilled to support Fanatec and Logitech wheels. Speaking of wheels, I'm currently running the Fanatec GT3 RS with the Club Sport pedals. And when I want to run a manual transmission, I use the SST Lightning Shifter by SimGear. I also have a Fanatec sequential shifter to handle a variety of things from an e-brake and Richard Burns to general functions in iRacing. To handle other functions, I have a G15 keypad by Logitech. Sounds are ported into the rig via a butt kicker LFE and a set of Turtle Beach Ear Force X1 headphones. Visuals are handled via a standard 22-inch LCD monitor. And to power this rig, I just built a new computer. First off, thanks to Silverstone Technologies for sending us this amazing tower chassis called the Fortress FT01. And over the years, I've built a good number of PCs, and this tower made it easier than ever. Inside the Fortress, I have an AMD quad core on an Asus motherboard with 4 gigs of G-Skill RAM. At the heart of the Fortress, I'd like to thank PNY for sending us their GTX 275 Extreme NVIDIA graphics card. The seating position in this rig is the best I've experienced in regards to comfort for a sim rig. It's also great for adding pedals or different wheels for testing for the show. The seat isn't the most comfortable, but with a pillow, it can't be beat. I'd like to thank CXC Simulations, Fanatec, SimGear, Logitech, Silverstone Technologies, Butt Kicker, and PNY for providing items for my racing rig.
All right, Darren, I really enjoyed your piece on your rig.
Oh, well,
Do you
thank
have a name for your rig?
Yeah, it's actually Lucille.
Lucille, like Lucille's barbecue.
No, I'm just kidding. I don't have a name.
Restaurant.
I don't name it. There's no
Ribs?
name. Actually, we call it the limo.
The limo. Why is
Because it's all
that?
stretched out. It's how long.
Because you're very tall.
Because I'm tall, yeah.
That's a huge rig.
Alrighty then.
So, yeah, what do we got next? Game Racer. Oh, wait. Ferrari question. We got a question, one of the trivia questions.
First trivia question.
What was... I get to ask the first one. What was the first ever built aluminum... Whoa, I just got hammered. What was the first ever Ferrari aluminum road car? Is that right, Sean? That's the question?
That is the correct.
So go ahead and give us that. That's one of 3 questions to win this awesome F430 wheel.
That's right. And now we're gonna go ahead and take a look at sim rigs for under $1,000. We got
right.
this Game Racer
Part
seat
4.
that Darren is using right here.
That's
and
right here.
Let's
And
take a look.
Yeah, let's do it. Okay, well, here we are for part 4.
Yeah, it's
That was right?
yeah, it's one of those segments. I love these segments. I mean, I think the sim rig is the meat and potatoes of sim racing.
No doubt, especially, you know, I can't imagine racing without one now. I can't believe we raced on discs.
I actually used to use, you know, my sliding thing.
I
and it
can't
would move
believe
and
you did that. I had to clamp directly to the desk.
pedals sliding over.
I had my tray. I had to take my tray out.
Yeah.
So this is number 4, our 4th segment. We've done the Z-frame, the Obudu play seat, Bob Earl,
Yeah.
and now the Game Racer Elite.
And we've had a few, we had my rig way back when. We've seen a few viewer rigs in the course of all
My
these.
rig on this show.
Yeah.
And we're going to go out with Eric Nagy's roller coaster rig.
Totally different rig.
Exactly. So anyway, Game Racer Elite here. And this one comes with the Carboe seat.
It's got the Game Racer embroidery. I've seen the Corboe on the website.
Yeah, actually,
so
this one right here says
Yeah.
Carboe on it, but ours says Elite.
it's kind of cool.
We got, yeah, which is kind of cool, like you said. Ours comes with the, we got the optional shifter, which we don't have, shifter mount, because the Fanatic shifter didn't work with it, but it's really solid. I definitely recommend it if you need a shifter mount for your
It's
rig.
definitely made for a G25 shifter, though. There's not a lot of mounting surface, so
Yep.
we had a little trouble with the Sim Gear shifter. Fanatic wheel obviously wouldn't, or Fanatic shifter. It is adjustable, so you have a little bit of up and down adjustment.
Yep.
It also has 2 different mounting positions on the rig, and it's universal in that it could go on left or right for your Euros or your Aussie English guys.
Exactly. That's $58, and then we also have the optional monitor mount, which is also $58, which it only goes with a 15-inch monitor and perfect positioning, but this thing wobbles pretty good. So you'd have to drill it onto here.
We'll take their word for it that it'll hold a 15, but I mean the rig.
I actually tried to put my 22 on it. I strapped it to it. And it was kind of, it was a little crazy. But anyway, so this rig here, right here, goes for $615 before shipping and taxes here in California. I think you add about another $100 for that. So $715 for all of the above. They also have a Pro version that doesn't have the seat riser. That optional seat riser is $58. The Pro also has a different seat, also a Carboe seat though. Yeah. And the Pro goes for, it's a budget $349. No risers and the standard Carboe seat, and you don't get the additional pieces either.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
By itself, the Elite goes for $499 with the Carboe seat, without the additionals. So anyway, you can go to Game Racer. Let's see, we got the UK version, gameracer.co.uk, or you go to gameracer.us to check it out. A little bit of specs on it. 4-foot to 7-foot drivers. So Sean's 5'5". We got some footage of him driving it.
And you can see, actually we can't see, but I can't even reach the pedals right now because Darren was the last one in here, and definitely fits him as well.
But we got, well, we're showing you footage here of both of us driving. Actually, we're gonna do the, we show you the push out here. But we got the assembly video.
Yeah, I took the privilege or the luxury of putting this one together.
Indeed, you did. Actually, some specs on this thing real quick. Welded steel, powder coated. This is called zinc passivated stretcher bar, and it's supposed to be it's supposed to resist scratching, but we got some shots of it. There's some scratches here on the main piece, but not bad. Kind of like a bronze anodized piece, but just there's some scratches there, but not big deal. From the adjustability. And Sean, what are these?
Knobs.
Come with some knobs for adjustability. You know, we've talked about knobs many times on the show, and they're great for adjusting.
They're good solid knobs too, and pretty easy to get a good grip on.
And like we mentioned, the full-size Carboe seat. So anyway, let's run your assembly video.
Well, you can see I worked up a little bit of sweat there. It wasn't the hardest rig. It wasn't
last time too.
Some were easier, some were hard. It actually was a pretty easy to put together rig. Taking your time is important, though. You don't want to cross-thread anything. You want to put the right pieces where they belong the first time, so you don't scratch anything.
We're going to be honest. I'm going to be honest. Part of the reason this thing isn't mounted was because I would have had to take the seat off. Sean mentioned that on the play seat when we did that one.
We've done it twice.
Yeah. I didn't mount this before I put that together, so this didn't make it. But honestly, we again, so you guys know what we're using. We have footage here. We used the 911 Turbo S, which is not out. This is actually a prototype version. This has a little funky plug coming out the back here.
Umbilical cord.
We drilled like we like to do. We've talked about that before. We drilled directly into this. Here's the G25.
Yeah.
Yes, it works. I'm sure if we liked how it worked here, so
yeah. The big question mark for any of these rigs is how does it deal with the other wheels, really? I mean, so
yeah,
again,
exactly.
Fanatic, and on almost all of them for the Fanatic, we've had to drill them out.
F430 hooked up to this too for the
and that
footage on the show.
That one mounted beautifully to this rig.
Yep.
You know, and back to the whole topic. If we were putting a G25 on it, would you use their little knobs or would we be drilling it?
I would have drilled it.
I would always drill it.
And this one didn't come with drill. This one didn't come with any drill holes at all, so you would have to drill it no matter what, or just use the clamp.
We could test 100 rigs. If they're not drilled, I guarantee you, I'm going out to my toolbox, getting the drill, mounting my rig with the the bolts, so they never move.
Best way to do it. And then the pedals, we have them mounted with Velcro, and it was fine. We used this thing came with some heavy-duty Velcro. We just went ahead and used that. Let's talk about adjustability.
Okay.
The front here, I mean this piece, like we had talked about, 4 foot to 7 foot. So lots of adjustability in the wheel, piece here as far as up and down goes. And you definitely need that. You can tilt the deck by tightening the bolts here, and then you got it forward and back. So
and that's all independent of the pedals at this point. So all of that was purely the steering wheel and the monitor if you are using that stand.
Yep. So there's your adjustability on this thing.
And then going to the pedals are on the center post down below, which you've seen in the video that we've played, and that actually moves back and forward. And then this would slide on that center post as well.
Yep. So there you have that. And now let's talk about seat comfort. I want to mention the whole seat width thing.
Yeah.
I have a 34-inch waist. Any wider than me, and you're close to say you're about 32?
Yeah, I'm a 32. 32 right now.
So any wider than me, and you're going to have a tough time sitting in that seat.
Yeah.
I'd say maybe even 36 is maybe the max. 38 maybe pushing it.
I think 38 you would be squeezing your bottom into the bottom of the seat.
Yeah, if you're any bigger than that, you're not going to fit in the seat. So I mean, but I like how it fits. I mean, that's actually, not that you need lumbar support for a sim rig, but you're in there tight, and it's got a cool feel to it.
And it holds you. And honestly, I do a lot of body motion.
I do too, actually.
And it's kind of nice having a seat that cups you nicely because it lets me do what I'm trying to do with the body motion, which is kind of not rock, but get the feeling of G-forces almost.
Yep. Next thing, position. Since that monitor stand isn't really, I'd say, adequate for hardcore sim racing, especially monitors nowadays. I mean, they're We created this stand with our extrusion tubing, same stuff we have my sim rig was built out of. But that's we're gonna be using that for a lot of our rigs like this. But this is best for like console racing like this, or just it pulled great up to this desk that I have at home.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or even the 51-inch TV. We had footage of it with the GT3 RS in that review.
I love that scenario because that's when you feel like you're really in the car, and especially when you got the wheel just kind of floating like this.
Next up, wobble. What do you think, man?
You know, what's really
it's showing
funny,
a lot here now. But
yeah, we have it loose, and it actually is dependent on your heels being on the pedals. And it's like, if you just walk up to it and wobble it, it's like, oh, I was actually thinking it wasn't going to do very well in that category. And then when I sat in it, all of a sudden my body weight on the seat, it all leveling out on the floor, and I would say it's pretty
stable.
Yeah,
you'll see the footage of it here. It's definitely a stable,
as stable as we've tested. Goes. It really is as stable as we've tested. Well, the TSW was unmovable.
We were talking about doing a mount, redoing some of these and having like a wobble cam, but
we'll do a rig shootout someday and show you them all side by side.
Yep. So anyway, that's going to wrap it up. Pros, good seating position, comfortable seat, looks cool. I love the blue and black carboy.
Too. And the powder coat's real nice. So the combination of the zinc bar with the powder coated bar and the blue and black seat, and matches the Porsche wheel real well.
Yep, it's a cool looking rig. Compactable for storage. And great desk and console racer were my pros. Any more for you, Sean?
I think it is one of the more stable rigs, especially the ones that are in this type of position.
Right.
I like the risers, so if people are considering the other one, I mean, I like being off the ground a little bit. I think we've covered that.
That was our complaint about the Bob Earl.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a good rig. If the Bob Earl was built up a little bit higher, we probably would have given it a thumbs up. They're not really happy with us. We'll mention that right now. But anyway, yeah, I definitely recommend the seat risers. If you're going to even get the cheaper version, get the seat risers. So you're, unless you want to be on the ground, then don't.
Yeah.
Get the Pro version.
And I think I'm going to put this on both a Pro and a Con, but the seating position for me is very comfortable. My latest home-built rigs have all been more of an upright, like this type position, and I find I can race more comfortably longer. However, a lot of people want a real racy position, and this is definitely not the raciest of the cockpits we've tested. So, depending on your needs, I'd put it on either side of the coin there, Pro and Con.
Yep. So that leads us to cons. Speaking of which, I'd say the cost. I'd say it's a little on the high side. I like that I'd like to check out the Pro seat and see what is the difference in comfort.
Yeah.
But it is a little bit on the pricey side. But it's cool. I think knock $100 off the price, and it would probably be taken off of the con list. But that and the monitor stand was a little bit too wobbly for use, and then no keyboard or monitor mouse holder. But we saw one in one of these pictures, so I think there's an optional mouse or keyboard holder that you could get. So that's really my cons on this, which really isn't much. I like this rig.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, this is going to become my console rig.
You're taking this one, huh?
Yep.
All right, my cons. Well, coming from the 5.5 perspective, yes, I was able to get the wheel pretty darn close to where I like it. However, I found that it did impede my pedals a little bit. It has it so the post for the
we got some
steering wheel.
close-ups of you driving in it, and you'll see here that his feet are right on that post. I don't have that problem. Me being 6'4", I stretch the pedals out far enough. That bar, you'll see us putting it, adjusting it for my driving.
Yeah.
I didn't have that problem.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Sean. Sorry for interrupting.
The metal plate was a little bit flexy under the pedals. I didn't feel it a lot, but when I was really sensitive, the plate down there felt like it was moving a little bit, whereas up here was really, really stiff. I mean, all in all, it was a very stiff, rig, but... And then I think I mentioned, but yeah, the cost. I felt it was a little expensive. We've looked at some rigs that were a little under this price point that actually throw in keyboard holder and stuff, and maybe not the quality of this one, but you can get it done for less money. But
yeah, like that one we're talking about. It's the Obadu.
Yeah.
That's the best budget rig out there is the Obadu. But the Obadu doesn't have powder coated stuff and this nice what's it called here, the passivated zinc.
Yeah. Or these really cool knobs.
Yeah. Or a Carbo seat.
Yeah.
I mean that there's the big differences in
and
those.
It wiggles more. It definitely wiggles. It has a reclining seat though, so that's something that for a lot of people they'd like to see a reclining seat. That's not available here on this seat.
Right.
Just to give you an idea, I mean we talk about the knobs, but there's the Gameracer knob.
Yep. So that's going to do it for this. Again, you can get it at gameracer.us.
We can do a little...
Oh, yeah. You go first.
I'm giving this one a thumbs up. This is a good rig. The price point might keep some people out of it, but the people who can't afford it, I don't think, it's going to come into play. The people who do want it when they get it, I think they'll be quite happy with it.
Yep, and I'm going to give it a thumbs up, too. Like I said, it would just drop a little bit from that. I mean, if I was going to, it definitely wouldn't be a 10. This rig is not a 10. I mean, I would drop the score. If it was an 8 out of a 10, I'd give it an 8. Mainly because of the cost and a little bit of the wobble factor, but great for what I said. This is going to be my console rig. Nothing beats my extrusion tubing erector set rig, but as far as I'm concerned for this stuff. But anyway, that's going to do it for part 4 here. Next up, we have the Vision Racer for this.
Yep.
And then next up on the show, we have the Eric Nagy.
This is cool.
Yeah, this guy sent us these videos of his rig, and man, this guy has gone all out, full Frex motion. He's using XSim. He's got this roller coaster. Sean and I dug this. He's got this roller coaster sim he's riding with this thing, and we'll show you some footage of that. So, anyway, here's his videos. We'll just play just some quick clips, and then back to the regular show.
There you go.
To deliver you a mountain ties of love. How the oceans connected by a strongest something.
Nice, nice. If you guys get a copy of the roller coaster game, I want to try it.
I'm on it, man. I want to check that out, too.
Looks fun.
Yep.
All right, well, before we go on over to commercial, I have a quick question for you, Darren.
I got a question for you, actually.
Yes?
How about trivia question number 2?
Trivia question number 2. What year was Ferrari's first road car produced?
To win this wheel, that's 2 of 3 now for this wheel.
Correctamundo.
So stay tuned. You got to watch every second of this show.
And my question for you, what's the biggest difference, in your opinion, on the do-it-yourself rigs and on the rigs that you can purchase altogether?
I think for the do-it-yourself, especially like the one that we've done, it's being able to configure it exactly the way you want it. I'm 6'5", so comfort and being able to sit, in the exact position I want is really key. With these other units, you're a little bit limited in certain areas, but they're all great rigs.
Fair and square, fair and square. And now we're going to head on off to commercial break, and we'll be back after these messages.
This is Cole Little asking you to stop by the brand new SRT store. They have everything you could want as a sim racer right there in one place. They have wheels, pedals, shifters, and more. I'm talking about the latest sims, even Race Pro. Sim pods, video cards, they got it all. Just go to InsideSimRacing.tv, click on the store button, or on the banner. And the best thing of all is every purchase helps keep SRT on the air. So don't be a Dario Gangini, go to the SRT store, get your gear, and be cool.
Celebrity voice impersonated.
All right, guys, I'm back here with Sean. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Hi, everyone.
And we're going to do some games on the console now for you guys.
A couple of titles we have here. We've got Fuel by Codemasters and Superbike by Black Bean.
And first we're going to go over Fuel, which is a game for collecting fuel, right? That's the object.
Yeah, it's sort of like Mad Max. World has come to an end, go around and win races to win fuel to unlock terrain and cars and all sorts of stuff.
Sounds very interesting. I've actually seen it. It looks very fun. Now, I'm not an expert, but what would you say, that it plays more like a sim or like a console game?
That's the meat and potatoes, what everyone wants to know. It definitely plays more like a game. I mean, it has no damage. You can't set up the car, and the damage has got this great play to it, but it's a shame that such a rugged game doesn't have damage, because it would actually go real well with it.
Well, you did mention something about terrain, and I wasn't quite sure. what you meant by open terrain.
I think this is the best feature of Fuel in that it's 500 square miles of open terrain. They've got race circuits, so you go checkpoint to checkpoint, or you can free ride and just go anywhere. In fact, when you're in the race, even checkpoint to checkpoint, you can just kind of go your own way. If you want to go off course, you can, and it's pretty interesting. Definitely different for a driving game.
You're taking a look here at the guys' overall scores between Sean and Darren.
And like I said, it's a great diversion game. Lots and lots of hours of gameplay, and a good game.
So there's a quick look at Fuel, and that was on the Xbox 360. Next up, we have Superbike 09. This was played, the guys played it on PlayStation.
But wait, before we get to Superbike, I think it's time to ask that iRacing trivia question.
I think it is about that time.
I'm going to go ahead and hit it. This is for the 3-month subscription to iRacing, and the question goes like this. iRacing recently announced 3 different racetracks, international racetracks, to be released. Of the 3, one of them was raced in 1928. So the question is...
The first race was in 1920.
The first race at that track was in 1928. So the question is, which of the 3 tracks, and of course, what was raced there in 1928?
All right. Back to Superbike 09.
Yeah, we tried that out on the PlayStation, and we get tons of requests for motorcycle things. One this week, in fact. And
so that's why we brought you a little more coverage by Blackbean. Let's see what Sean and Darren had to say about it.
All right, here we are with SBK 09 for the PlayStation 3.
Got our leathers on today.
Yeah. Those dudes do.
All right, there you go.
Anyway, here for SBK 09 by, oh, dude, you're driving.
Yeah.
We got to tell them about the contest here before you,
All right.
a little competition, before you start driving. He's a little overzealous here today. Anyway, SBK 09, Superbike, World Superbike is basically what this is modeling, by Blackbean and Milestone, I believe, was the other company.
Yeah.
And I'd like to thank them for sending this copy. We got actually copies for the PC and the Xbox 360 for Euro.
I don't know.
We couldn't play the PAL
region
version.
was
the PAL version. Couldn't play that one. But we got the PlayStation 3 version of it, and we're going to do a review. And here's how we're going to do it. We got our 12 categories, actually 11. We're not going to count force feedback for this. And then our overalls. And instead of boring you by going over every single one and talking about graphics and sound, I mean, you guys know what sounds are. You guys know what graphics are. You guys know what the presentation's all about for the most part. I mean, we're not going to go into every little detail about it.
We're not going to ramble, in other words.
Exactly. We have a new little rule. We get to pick 2 categories to talk about, but we'll tell you the scores of each one. I'm going to do the first 6. We have a little challenge here. We're going to see who can stay on the bike in this mode during the other guy's 6 categories. So
this is the hold on like hell cam.
Yeah, that's tough. It's pretty tough to ride like that. So anyway, I'm going to go through the first 6 here. All right, well, I'm going to start with the physics first. That's usually our first category. And both of us gave it an 80. That was our score to start with. This is going to be the one I'm going to talk about. And one thing about the physics seem pretty realistic. I've ridden a motorcycle quite a bit on a track, and just the way the front wheel comes up under power, and I thought the transitioning back and forth, and maybe I just didn't get deep enough into the game to find it, but the transitioning back and forth to transfer your weight back and forth seemed a little slow. I figured that I could go a little faster if I was on the bike myself, but other than that, it seemed pretty realistic. There's different tire wear settings and all sorts of things you can do to adjust the bike. Sean didn't make it, so there's one crash. Let's see. I don't think I'm going to make it either, because I'm going to go for it. But so anyway, it definitely deserved an 80. Man, what I would really love to do is try one of these bike games. This one especially. I like this one better than MotoGP. I'd like to try one of these with some kind of bike controller. Wouldn't you, Sean?
Yeah, I mean, I thought about using a wheel, and then I thought, no, I couldn't do the dual brakes, and the controller actually does a real, I can't,
There he goes.
that's not fair, I'm talking.
Okay, we won't count two. You only got one. Okay, back to me. So both 80s for the physics. By the way, the second thing I'm going to talk about is fun factor. So next up is graphics. I gave it a 90. Sean gave it an 87. 720p only, but nicely done. Not too many jaggies. Sound, 70 for me, 74 for Sean. All the bikes had different tones. Like the Ducati is a V-twin, sounded like one. Presentation, ease of use, 80 for me, 81 for Sean. Fun factor. For me, there was really nothing unique as far as a bike game went. If you're a World Superbike fan, you'll love it, because I am, so I definitely enjoyed that. But definitely takes a lot of practice to get good at the sim levels, wouldn't you say, Sean?
Yes,
especially in this view.
And this is, this, I asked you, is this what it looks like on a bike? I mean, I can't confess to be a bike rider, bicycle maybe, but, and, yeah, this is,
It's a similar view. I mean, there's no doubt you're looking, your head's popping over that, your grip, as you're leaning. So
you're definitely getting the sensation of leaning. I mean,
and look at the vibration.
Yeah.
As you're getting up to speed, and as the front wheel comes up. So anyway, fun factor for me, 75. Sean an 84. And then the last but not least, bike models or / riders. That's usually our car category. 85 for me and 85 for Sean. Most of the riders and all the teams, I think there was 1 or 2 riders that were missing, maybe for licensing issues, from the 09 World Superbike season. So I'm done. You're up, dude.
All right. Well, I didn't make a lap.
Time for us to do a little chop crossfade here and switch for me to driving. And Sean's going to start with damage.
3 times.
3 times?
3 times.
Not counting the one?
I counted the one.
Okay.
All right, well, there you saw it. 3 crashes. Darren's now giving it a run and sketchy hold on for your life cam.
Hey, don't drag it out to make me drive longer either.
There you go. All right, well, I'll move right on to damage. Damage, compared to MotoGP, the crashes were better. The damage, you can actually hurt the bike. Instead of it being like knocking the toe or camber out or breaking it, it actually just fatigues the bike more and more to the point that it won't run. You don't notice a big difference in driving, and also the driver himself, the rider, can be damaged to the point of no longer continuing. But there is consequences for the damage. I gave it a 60. I'm sorry, Darren gave it a 60. And I gave it a 68.
Something about damage I'd like to say really quick is that it's more superficial. You see like scrapes on the bike.
Yeah, little bent pipe.
Yeah, but nothing, you don't see parts flying off, which I would have liked to see.
It didn't sound like it had a bent pipe. It didn't run like it had a bent pipe. Next up would be tracks. And tracks, I'm going to be real quick on this one. It's all of the tracks of the real Superbike season. No more, no less, which means you got 13 tracks to ride on. Not a lot of tracks. They are nicely done, though. For tracks, Darren gave it an 82. I gave it an 80. Next up is multiplayer. Multiplayer, when it comes to games that run on the console platform, you're limited by the system.
Whoa.
And really it's just open arena. We've been giving almost everything a 70 because they just can't compare to what we are accustomed to when it comes to sim racing. So in multiplayer, it got a 70 in both from both of us. Next up is the AI online, or offline play, I should say. The riders out there run good driving lines. You'll see them battling each other. They'll battle you. However, a lot of the time, like most AI, you feel like they just don't care that you're on the track. They almost don't know.
There.
They don't know you're there. I mean, it's something to battle against, and I think the online community would always be smaller in this compared to sim because it is a little bit more difficult. So finding guys who you can really ride with might be difficult, but if you did, it would be insanely fun. For that, we both gave it a 75 in AI. Force feedback, well, we're using the little thumb pad. And for bikes, because of the dual brake, both independent front and rear brake, the way the steering is with the lean and everything, the controller pad actually works pretty well. I'd prefer it over my steering wheel, but no such thing as force feedback, and therefore we give it no score. In cost comes down to everything we've talked about divided by the price, essentially. I felt it was pretty good for the money at 83, and Darren gave it a 75. And that does take us to final scores, unless I mean, I could go on and on and on.
No, keep going.
So
He's trying to. I knew you were going to try to drag this on, and of course I just wrecked again.
there you go.
2 wrecks for me.
All right, so that
But you
takes
got
us
the
to the overall.
He cheated.
For overall, are we doing both simulation and arcade?
No, just yeah. This was a sim. We ranked this as a sim.
That's what I feel.
There's my 3rd wreck. We were done though.
And my
We tied.
my average score. That view is very difficult.
It is.
I can't say that that's the way I actually run it when we were playing.
Yeah,
a lot.
we rerun it more like this. And there's a ton of views,
Yeah.
which is kind of cool. We can kind of go through this while we're talking, but
But that seemed kind of fun for the show right there.
this
And-
you get a better perspective of how your rider's leaning and stuff. Let's crank a little wheelie for you guys here.
There
A
you
little
go.
stoppy.
Anyway, for an overall,
No stopping.
my impressions of the game were it's absolutely one of my favorite motorcycle sims that I've ever played. But there's still a lot to be desired, and that's some in the controls, that's some in just the overall what you're getting, you know, tracks, different bike classes, more damage, more extreme, things like that. Anyway, I gave it a 78.81, which is a real good. I mean, that's just almost a B.
Yep.
You know, an old school
High
math.
C, low B. And then for me, what did I give it? What was my?
76.54.
And you know what? I as a motorcycle rider, actually I don't have a bike right now. I definitely plan on getting another one. But as a rider, I liked it. I mean, it definitely, you know, it's just like riding a bike. It's not like driving a car. It takes a lot of getting used to because you're leaning versus steering. I mean, you really don't steer a bike at all.
You only get one shot at apex on a bike, it seems.
Yeah, you can alter it a little bit, but it's tough. I mean, with throttle or brake inputs, but man, once you're leaning over, like you said, you're there and you're pretty much stuck there, and that's kind of like why I think they're mimicking it like that. But overall, it's a pretty cool game. It's, like I said, Superbike fan, you'll love it.
Yeah.
Definitely worth a rental.
Yeah.
So there's my take on it.
You gotta love that in the console games. You know?
Yeah,
It's
you
like
can-
if you're on the fence about it, go rent it, try it. If you love it, it's worth buying for
Yeah,
sure.
Superbike fan, definitely worth buying. So there you have it, Superbike 09 by Milestone and Black Bean.
All right, bike fans, ask and you shall receive.
Yeah, you gotta love it. Not a lot of motorcycle titles out there, and this is a good one. And it's just a totally different kind of racing. Yeah, any race fan loves motorcycles. Well, I think so.
I do.
And they need to make controls. That's what we need next, is controllers for motorcycles.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
That would be pretty sweet. Well, that's going to take us to the end of today's show. Before we get going, I believe we have
Number 3, the third question.
Number
for
3.
The,
Final.
Third and final question.
Drum roll.
Third question for the trivia is, what was the name of the first car produced under the Ferrari name?
There you go. And, you know, so that was the third question for the Ferrari wheel. We also had the one question for the iRacing contest. In order to enter this, and you can enter both contests, we now have a contest link, submission link on our website.
Which is InsideSimRacing.tv.
So you got to go there. You got to press that link. You have to be a YouTube subscriber, so it will ask you your name, your YouTube name. You also need to, in the subject line, write, are you answering questions the iRacing giveaway or the Thrustmaster giveaway?
Please specify.
You obviously have to answer the questions correctly, and then you will be eligible to be entered in the drawing for the winner.
Which we'll have early August.
Early August. So, we were going to put a date on that show, but we're not so good with dates. So,
Why don't
early
we just
August.
say in episode 44?
There you go. That's
We
the
will
one.
announce the winner. So just to sum that up for you guys, go to our website at InsideSimRacing.tv, click on the contest button, go ahead and specify which contest you're entering, either the Ferrari wheel or Thrustmaster wheel or iRacing. Answer the questions correctly and be a subscriber. Lots of steps, we know, but very simple and very, very great giveaways. So please feel free to join. That's going to wrap it up for episode 43.
43.
For Darren way back there,
Yo.
for Sean right here, and myself, the checker flag is out, and so are we.